even if there is such a request from the Ukrainian side. And, accordingly, the second part of the question, do you now see any real forces in Ukraine, be it political circles or the military, that are really capable of soberly assessing the situation, making a compromise, and, most importantly, being able to negotiate? This is a question for me, right? This is a question for both presidents. Well, I guess I'll start, okay? You know this better. As for the negotiation process, I've talked about this many times. I want to emphasize this again here in Minsk. Russia has never refused these negotiations. Moreover, we in Belarus started these negotiations at one time. Then we moved them, and at the request of the Ukrainian side, to Turkey, to Istanbul. We came to an agreement. We have reached a draft agreement. Moreover, the head of the negotiating group on the Ukrainian side initialed a summary of these possible agreements. That is, in principle, this generally suited the Ukrainian side, and it suited the Russian side as well. There were points that needed to be improved, but in general, I repeat, if this document is signed by the Ukrainian side, it means that the Ukrainian side was satisfied with it. For well-known reasons, after the former British Prime Minister arrived in Kiev, the Ukrainian side threw out these agreements and stopped implementing them. Moreover, they announced that negotiations were being terminated. They said this publicly. We didn't stop these negotiations. They did. And moreover, they forbade themselves to continue these negotiations. We didn't prohibit anyone. We are in favor of negotiations. After this, again at the instigation and at the suggestion of their Western sponsors, the masters, a goal was set to achieve the strategic defeat of Russia and victory over Russia on the battlefield. We see now that conversations have resumed again, that they need to return to negotiations. Well, let them come back. But they should return to negotiations not based on what one country wants, but based on those agreements of a fundamental nature that were reached during difficult negotiations in Belarus and Turkey, and based on today's realities that have developed on Earth. We are ready for this. Who to negotiate with? Of course, this is not an idle question. I agree with you. Of course, we are aware that the legitimacy of the current head of the Ukrainian state has ended. I think that one of the goals of the conference that was announced, the conference in Switzerland, this goal is precisely for the Western community, the sponsors of today's Kiev regime, to confirm the legitimacy of the current head of state, or the no longer current head. But these PR moves have no effect on legal documents. Of course, if it comes to this, and I proceed from the fact that peace negotiations must be resumed, and not with the help of ultimatums, but with the help of common sense. And they must be based on common sense. But if it comes to this, of course, we need to understand who we need and can deal with in order to reach the signing of legally binding documents. And then we must be completely sure that we are dealing with legitimate authorities. Ukraine itself must answer this question. First of all, I think, from the position of the parliament, the constitutional court, or some other government bodies. As far as I know, we need to look at what is written in the Constitution of Ukraine. Which government bodies have the right to be extended under the Constitution of Ukraine without elections, without election procedures, and which government bodies cannot count on these rights. This can be done based on legal analysis. These are questions for the Ukrainian political and legal system.